Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to round 8 of Fortune Racing's Wicked Wednesday in Mexico. Yeah, we're here in qualifying for the Mexican Grand Prix. And as you can see, we are going for it's going to be a completely dry qualifying, overcast conditions. So yeah, no mix-ups for the qualifying session. As we see the first car coming out onto track now. The Alpine of Glenn coming down the pit lane now to start his outlap. First person out on the track. So, yeah, eager to get going. Let's just get everything ready. Alright, so we've also got the Alfa Romeo of Make. We've got the Haas of Crossfrog, I believe that is, coming out of the pits as well. But still a lot of people sat in the pit lane. Obviously, yeah, we don't have any changing conditions, so no need to rush out of the pits to get a lap in early on. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one today. This qualifying session is going to be much more representative of the pace. We don't have the changing conditions like we had, for example, in Monaco 2 races ago. This is going to come much more down to the driver's pure pace. So now coming through the stadium section, getting ready to start his lap. Any second now. Round this long final corner, which leads onto a very long straight. Quite often you don't want to be starting on pole here in Mexico because the run down to turn 1 is so strong. P3 can quite often come out in the lead. I can't remember the exact statistic, but a lot of times the person on third will end up leading by the end of the first lap, simply because they get such a good run with the slipstream down towards turn 1 on the 2 in front. But now, yeah, so through towards turn 4, we're coming to the end of sector 1, and it's going to be a 29.1 for the Alpine driver. We'll see what that compares to for the likes of Crossfrog and Make, who are also now on laps. Coming through sector 2, very easy to lose the rear end. Crossfrog just coming to the end of the sector, 30.1 as well for him. And Make coming to it now, a 28.9. So going a little bit faster there, the Alfa Romeo. But obviously this is the first lap, so not the end of the world. Another thing to remember is Crossfrog is on intermediates, actually, I've just realised. Going for Interspole, so is Tyrant and Will. DC White is also fetching, so Glenn sets a 1:16.8 on those soft tyres. Next person across the line is going to be Crossfrog, although I think Make is catching on those slick tyres, which is not going to be great for him. But yeah, coming to the end of the lap now, into the final corner, and they're both going to be crossing the line at the same time, actually. And Make is going to set a 1:17.8, Crossfrog a 1:23.2. We're going to be watching Will's lap here as well, I guess. See how he gets on with these intermediates. Can he go faster than Crossfrog? A 1:01.2 for the middle sector split seems quite decent for him. He's aiming to beat a 1:23.284. So now through the stadium section and towards the line now, and William Talbot is going to set a 1:22.2 and put himself 1.1 seconds almost faster than Crossfrog. Currently holding into his pole, but Tyrant also on a lap currently on the intermediate, seeing if he can improve on that. We've also got Khalifa on a soft tyre lap. Tyrant coming through towards the end of sector 2 now. And I think that might be slightly faster than what Will managed. So we might be seeing Tyrant just pipping Will to that Interspol as it stands. We also have the House of Khalifa, I think, has spun or invalidated. He was going slowly down the straight there. Tyrant coming to the line now and goes into P5 with a 1:22.2177 milliseconds, slower than Will. Just missing out on that Interspol. He's going to be a bit frustrated about that one. We will also have Khalifa invalidated that lap. So we got Chris, Gio, and then we also got JTK and Failing Squash starting laps now. So yeah, Gio now coming towards the sector 2 line, 58.2. Says he's gone purple through the middle sector actually, so could be a very good lap for Gio, although he has invalidated. So all his hard work has just been undone very quickly. He's probably going to peel into the pits now. I don't know if he'll have enough battery or fuel. And yeah, he comes in. So I think Chris is going to be the next to cross the line, coming around the final corner now towards the line, and he goes third fastest just behind his teammate at 79. And JTK coming to the line soon. Tyrant just coming into the pit lane. DCYT also on a lap on the intermediates. Invalidated his lap, I believe. JTK coming around the final corner and to the line and goes second fastest to 26.9, a tenth off of Glenn right now. Next person is gonna be, so Glenn's on an out lap, Chris on an in lap. It's gonna be, no, DCYT's just gone off on these. That's not gonna be a very representative time. I think it's Failing Squash actually. So, yeah, not too sure what's happened there. I don't know whether Failing Squash started too close to DCYT or whether something else happened. But yeah, contact being made between the two drivers. Unfortunate for them. So DTYT coming back into the pits doesn't set a lap time. And I expect Failing Squash going to be into the pits as well. Failing going for another lap now. Alright, and who else have we got on laps here? Lots of drivers currently on track. I'm not sure who's on a push lap or an in lap. I think who's going to be the next cross the line? Oh, we got a Haas off. And that's Crossfrog, I believe. Spun on the exit of turn 3 there. So Justorini coming across the line. He improves by 6/10 to set a 1:18.1. Doesn't improve his position though. He stays in 6th place. Next person across the line is Chris, who does improve. Improves by about 2/10, goes into 4th place ahead of his teammate. A couple tenths off of Will though in the Williams. Then we've got the car going slowly in Sector 3. A couple cars going slowly actually. Looks like a little bit of chaos to be honest. Will going slowly, I think trying to get out of the way of drivers. Struggling a little bit. Had to stop on the track to let everyone get past. Might have impeded someone there, I'm not too sure. Chris, yeah, just finished his lap, making out on a flying lap, losing the river end a little bit out of turn 3 there. Could have cost him a little bit of time all the way down the straight towards turn 4. A 10.5 down on his last lap, so he's going to have to be pushing extra hard for the rest of this lap if he wants to improve now. It's through the S's now of Sector 2. Getting it hooked up very nicely. Rear end feels very planted. But I think he's invalidated it there on that final corner there. He managed to find a 10th, but yeah, that invalidation is going to cost him. The Tyrant has just gone into 4th position with a 1:17.4. Just missed that while we were watching on board with Make. DTYC sets a 1:18.3. And only person, I don't know if Gio's still on a lap, we'll see when he gets to the sector split, although his light's flashing, so I'm going to assume he's not. So now we will just be waiting to see yeah, so I think we're just going to be waiting. We've got Justorini on an out lap. Right, so lots of cars now going out onto the track. So just really on his push lap, I believe now, coming through to the end of, no, to the middle of sector 2. Yeah, he was 10th up and just invalidated his lap, so that's unfortunate for him. We do have Glenn and Failing now on laps. Failing just coming down towards turn 1. Glenn on the run towards turn 4, so they're going to be the first people to finish their laps. Glenn a 10th down on his best through sector 1. He's currently 4/10 clear of JTK and almost a second clear of Will in 3rd. So it's going to be quite a tall order if anyone wants to dethrone the Alpine driver, but it's definitely possible. Now towards sector 2, he has found a 10th through sector 2. He's now almost equal with his previous best. Coming through the stadium section though, he's going to have to try and push as hard as he can to try and find the time. Now through the final corner, and coming towards the line, loses the rear a little bit on the exit, but towards the line, and goes fastest by 26 milliseconds, finds a little bit extra time. Is that going to be enough to stop the flying JTK behind? Next car across the line, it's going to be Failing Squash, who comes across the line to set a 1:18.4, goes up into P10, and then we have Tyrant, who's currently sat in P4. He's a 10th and a half down through the first 2 sectors. It's not looking great for him. And then we have Justerini, I think, on an in-lap. Tyrant coming around the final corner. If he's managed to find the time through this final sector, it's going to be quite impressive. And improves by 63 thousandths, but stays in P4. Next car across the line, Justerini doesn't improve. He's coming into the pits. Then we've got the Haas of Crossfrog coming into the pits. And then the Alfa Romeo of Make coming across the line now, sets a 1:17.1, improves by 7 tenths. And then we have Khalifa coming across the line as well, goes up into, I've lost Khalifa, in 7th place. JTK doesn't find the time, gets within half a tenth, but not quite able to improve. And William Talbot, the last car across the line, improves, but not in his position. He stays in P4. So that is qualifying over, and that will be the grid. Glenn takes pole here in Mexico from JTK, Make, Will, Tyrant, Chris, Khalifa, Gio, Justerini, DTYT, Failing Squash, and Crossroad. Yep, definitely an interesting qualifying. Yeah, that final lap from Glenn, I don't think it would have made a difference. I think he was I don't think it would have made too much of a difference. He was, I think he only improved by 26 milliseconds. So I think that older lap still would have just about been fast enough for him to take pole there. But yeah, impressive lap from him. Just run through that again. Glenn takes the fastest lap of 1:16.5. Half a tenth back was JTK in the AlphaTauri, and then it was Make, Will, Tyrant, Chris, Khalifa, Gio, Justerini, DTYT, and then Failing Squash and Crossfrog rounding out the grid. But yeah, definitely going to be an interesting one. Let's just see. I don't think I saw anyone get any penalties. Just lots of invalidated laps and speeding. Alright, And now, quickly, while we wait for the strategies to be chosen, the weather for the main race. It's starting out dry, as you can see. Light cloud in the sky, but the rain is going to be falling here in Mexico City. The first third of this race should be dry, but there is rain coming, and it's going to get heavy come the end of this race. We might even see the full wet tyres in the final few laps, depending on how this goes, really. It's definitely going to be an interesting one, especially through Sector 2. There's a lot of very high-speed corners and low-speed corners, and it can get very tricky in the way. Another one to watch would be the stadium section. Obviously, the slowest point on the entire track is that hairpin in there. So yeah, that one's going to be a very tricky one if it starts raining. But now, getting ready for the formation lap. Um, right, so while we wait for our drivers, let's have a look at the tyres quickly. The majority of the grid has gone for the medium compound tyres. Khalifa on the hards, Fading Squash on the hards, Gio on the softs, looking to make up a couple places here at the start. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch those guys with the with the different tyres. See how it goes for them. Is Khalifa going to drop back a little bit? Is Gio going to be able to make up some places? Traditionally, P3 is one of the best places to start on the grid. Make currently sat in P3. It's going to be interesting off this start to see who is leading by the time we get down to turn 1. It's a very long straight. It's one of the longest, I think around a kilometre all the way down towards the first corner. Extremely long run. So yeah, this is going to be a very tense start. And by the time we get to turn 1, we could see a completely different order of the drivers as they now line up on the grid. As we now wait for the lights. Right, here we go. The lights are coming on. And we are away here in Mexico City. Glenn getting a decent start. It looks like JTK's got off the line well, but Make also going for a move, I think, already on JTK up into P2 in the slipstream of the Alpine, down the inside already into turn 1, looking to get ahead. And also we have JTK down the inside as well, fighting with the Alpine. William Talbot going rounding outside of the AlphaTauri. There looked like there was a little bit of contact there. Gio manages to gain a couple places off the start as well. Fading Squash dropping back a little bit. So is Khalifa on those hard tyres. Will and Tyrant fighting down towards turn 4. And Gio having a look on Tyrant in as well. They're going 3 wide through turn 4 there. That's not going to end well. Tyrant has to back out. He goes for a bit of a switchback. They're going 3 wide through this sector here. This is going to end badly. A little bit of contact between Tyrant and the Williams there. And also between the Mercedes and the Haas further back there. But it's been an amazing start for the top 3. They've pulled away 1.6 seconds already from the rest of the grid. I think I might be having a message here. And yes, Jack, if you're listening, join commentators VC. So at the end of lap 1, Make managed to take the lead as we expected into turn 1. Managed to pull away. and now has the lead. Hello, Jack. But yeah, mostly clean start off the line so far. But are we going to see a move from JTK on Make here down into turn 1? Also further back we have Tyrant, Will and Geo fighting. Will going for the move on Tyrant down the inside. Tyrant having a look on the inside of turn 2, but it's not going to work out for him. Will gets a better exit as well. And although he does lose it a little bit on the exit of turn 3, it's given Tyrant the run. He's going to try and go round the outside into turn 4. Going to be quite challenging. He's later on the brakes, managing to drive around the outside. That's the inside for turn 5. Gets him that run. And now ahead and puts Will a little bit out of shape. The Alfa Romeo of Chris going down the inside of Gio as well on those soft tyres. Gio has to go off track. Chris loses the rear end a little bit. Still very clean though. We haven't seen much contact between any of the drivers. How are you, Jack?
I'm good. A lot of carnage so far, I guess. So a lot of moving, a lot of overtaking.
Yeah, there's been a lot of action. It's Mexico. What do you expect? Mexico generally very good for racing.
What's the weather looking like it's gonna do?
It's gonna start raining at some point. Light rain, then heavy rain.
Everybody on.
We got most of the grid on the mediums. So Make setting the fastest lap currently at 1:20.6.
Let's see a move for the lead here.
Yeah, but those top 3 have pulled away 3 seconds in the first 2 laps on the rest of the pack. They have extremely fast pace here. JTK having a look on the inside of Make. Not quite able to make it work. Chris and Will fighting towards turn 1. Chris on the inside. And there's contact between Chris and Will. And Chris spins into Gio. That's really unlucky for Chris. And Gio as well. Just gets collected. And that has put Chris down to last.
Will did a sympathy spin, I think, as well.
That was failing, not Will. Yeah, unfortunate for them. That might get investigated.
That's a side by side.
Yep. Oh. And a switchback from... Oh no, that was lag.
Oh.
Which one is lagging? Khalifa. I think. Yeah, maintaining the lead for these first 3 laps. 3-second time penalty for DTYT. But now we have DRS enabled. I think we might be seeing a move here. Yeah.
Not able to pull it off.
Yeah, not quite working out for him. Had to go defensive there into that hairpin. Slowest part of the track. It's quite a messy overtake to make, to be honest. But now
it could be about to be overtaken twice.
Yeah,
Mike, sorry.
So now down towards turn 1 with the DRS now activated, weaving a bit down the straight. That's more than 2 moves I think I've seen. So JTK gonna go around the outside. Oh, and that was lag I think. It looked like there was going to be a very big crash there, Perez style. But
well, he was overtaken twice.
Yeah, Mike lagged back in the end. Crossfrog managed to get past his teammate. Oh, and we have yellow flags, and that's Chris round at turn 2 again. I don't know if there was contact with failing squash, or whether that was...
Did anybody pit for damage? I don't believe they did.
No, everybody's still on their original tyres. Yeah, if anybody had damage, it would be Gio, because he T-boned the Alfa Romeo when it spun across the front of him. But it looks like he's got away all right. Glenn very close to the back of JTK. Make dropping off a little bit. Mike, sorry. I'm going to keep doing that.
It looks like he's going to send it. No, he's not. He's going to hold out until the 2 DRS zones, which is a bit smarter.
Yeah. Yeah, Mike just dropping off the back a little bit, but he's going to gain back again with the 2 DRS zones. Double detection point. And we see failing, trying to go down the inside of Khalifa into the stadiums. Actually doesn't quite work out for him. JTK says the fastest lap of the race.
And Mike has almost fallen back a second from the top 2.
Yeah, it's not looking great for him. Maybe doesn't quite have the race pace. Glenn getting past with the DRS down into turn 1. Easy move for him. This has also allowed Mike to catch back up to the back of JTK.
Deep. JTK is going to get a good exit here. Maybe going to try and use battery to get back past him. No, the DRS is a bit too powerful. Doesn't use any of his battery.
I think most of the drivers also going to be running wet setups, so it's going to make that DRS slightly more powerful than it would normally be.
The sky is definitely getting darker as Mike picks up a 3-second time penalty for track limits.
So we're definitely into overcast conditions now, similar to what we had in qualifying. Probably going to bring a little bit more grip into the tyres. as the temperatures drop down a little bit.
Glenn has pulled away almost a second in the S's there.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe a mistake from JTK there. Also, Mike getting a 3-second time penalty. Justerini got a 3-second time penalty. Gio got a 3-second time penalty as well. I think all in that same lap. And in fact, he has pulled a second. 1.1 seconds across the detection point.
DRS. He's going to be at risk from Mike behind him. If Mike can get a decent exit onto the straight.
Oh, fastest lap for Glenn, 120.3. These guys are going to have to start working together now if they want to keep up with the Alpine. Using the DRS.
And gaining, and he's going to go for the move. Make it done before turn 1.
Yeah, they need to not fight. Use this DRS to pull back. 5-second penalty for Chris for speeding in the pits, and he's retiring. Yeah, not a great weekend for him. Had a few spins at the start there.
Could have possibly clawed it back when the rain started, but didn't really want to do that, I guess.
Yeah, maybe he had damage. So, yeah, and again, Glenn pulling away from these guys. We haven't even gone through the S's yet, and it's almost a second. The gap again.
Remember, these guys could be equal in ability, but that Alpine is faster by a long way.
Yeah, Alpine's quite a hard car to drive.
Mike makes a mistake. He's gone off in the end of the S's. JTK is going to get back past him. As Mike sits behind and is going to get the DRS on the 2 straights.
This is going to allow Glenn to pull away quite a lot, and we have a Haas round. Crossfrog has spun through the S's. I believe he's turned traction control off completely for the first time for this race.
He might have gone up on the curb as well, which is it's a tricky curb to. It's very inconsistent once you start getting tired.
Yeah, I mean, look at the gap between Glenn and JTK now. 1.7 seconds.
Mike is making a move. JTK getting himself back in the mirrors, but not going for the move himself.
Might be also seeing a move from DTYT a bit further back. His battery's flashing, but he has the DRS, and he's going to be going down the inside of the Aston Martin of Justerini. They're still going wheel to wheel, though, through turn 2 and 3. The Mercedes just managed to get ahead. He's also going to have the DRS down towards turn 4, so that will well and truly secure that move for him, I think. Managing to stay ahead. So, yeah, apart from a lot of time penalties and the incident with Chris and Crossfrog spin, it's been relatively clean, I'd say. Not too much has happened.
Mike's struggling again on the exit of the S's, and he's going to get overtaken once again by JTK.
Yeah, probably starting to struggle a little bit with the tyre wear. Those tyres are probably approaching 30% at this point, and especially the rears wear quite fast here in Mexico. So you end up with quite a big imbalance between the front and the rear tyres.
He's almost lost a second in Sector 3.
Yeah, he's starting to really struggle. I think the Alfa Romeo is one of the worst cars on tyre wear as well. So that's another thing to remember.
I assume the Haas is the only one that's worse?
I think it is. The bottom 4 cars are quite bad, along with the Ferrari. JTK takes quite a bit of curb there. His car was bouncing a little bit. Justerini getting past DTYT. And Gio and Tyrant very close together as well. Gio gaining in the DRS down towards turn 4. Having a look to the inside. Late on the brakes. Tyrant goes a little bit deep there. That's going to give Gio a nice run out of this corner. But not able to capitalise it. And has to sit behind for another lap, I guess. But yeah.
And it started raining.
Yep, I can see a couple drops now falling. At least in Sector 2 it has. I'm not sure if it's coming in from this direction or if the rest of the track is already wet. But yeah, I'd expect a pit stop for Inters in, I'd say, 3 laps probably. It really depends on how hard this rain falls. I saw a race once where it started raining on lap 17 under a safety car. Everybody pitted for intermediates, and it never got to Inters in 18 laps. It never got to full intermediate conditions. The slicks were still faster for the entire race. 5-second time penalty for DTYT for speeding. Is he coming in for the Inters? For soft tyres, that is an interesting strategy, given we're probably going to be seeing some more pit stops very soon. JTK going to be going for the move on Mike into turn 4. Mike seeming to just let him through. They're not risking fighting right now. Tyrant managing to stay ahead of Gio as well. The grip is going to be falling, and this is going to really show the skill of these drivers in these low grip conditions. Who is able to keep it on the track?
So the rainfall's now starting to become a little bit more visible on the track, which means the grip is obviously going further and further down.
DTYT gets another 3-second time penalty for track limits, as Failing gets past Khalifa. I think he had a bit of a moment on the exit of turn 6 there. Also, Mike dropping off the back of JTK in these low grip conditions, probably struggling a bit more with that tyre wear as well. Gio dropping back a bit from Tyrant, still managing to get the DRS by a couple tenths. And we can also see DTYT very close to the back of Crossrock through the S's, almost going wheel to wheel there. Has to sit behind.
Mike is the first one to make the jump onto the intermediate tyre.
I think that's going to be a little bit too early, to be honest. They're going to be very worn by the time we actually get to the inter conditions, because the track is still quite dry. It's a bold call, for sure. I mean, it's probably a better decision than pitting for the intermediates. Oh, and Crossrock spins it on the exit of the final corner. If he's lost his wing, he's probably going to be coming in for the pits now.
He has lost an end plate.
Yeah, so I think he's probably going to go for the intermediates now. I think it'd be illogical to go for a set of softs to then have to pit for more inters.
But now the rain is even more visible. So once you start seeing at least a little bit of puddles on the track.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting battle to watch, actually, between Khalifa and Make. Khalifa on the old hard compound tyres, Make on the intermediates, and it actually looks like Make is pulling away from Khalifa right now. So I think the intermediates are faster right now, but the tyre wear is going to be really bad on them, and it might just not be worth it to pit for them.
Make is gaining quite rapidly on Justarini. Oh, as Make almost spins into the wall. There's a wave of cars going into the pit lane. How powerful is Make's undercut going to be?
I mean, this could be very big, actually.
He's quite a long way behind Glenn.
I mean, he was quite far behind, to be honest, as well.
But I think he's lost time.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see with JTK, obviously, as they were fighting, where he comes out. But yeah, that's definitely going to be the one to watch.
Gaining on Khalifa.
Yeah, it's definitely intermediates now. You can see it on the track, and Khalifa goes wide, and that's going to allow Tyrant to go past. Glenn's already gained a second on JTK. So yeah, JTK going to be really struggling on those tyres, just nursing the car back to the pits. Going to make a pit stop now, I assume, drifting out of the final corner as well. That's how little grip there is. But yeah, he is into the pit lane now. And let's see where he comes out compared to Glenn and Mike. Gio leaves the session. So I don't think I have him added to invite him back. But now Glenn coming down the pit straight, DRS disabled, so yeah, we're definitely in inter conditions now, and Mike also passing JTK as well. This is going to be quite a big gap here. Over 2 seconds now.
Will now looking like he's going to make a move on Gio, or Gio's AI.
Yeah, the AI is on like 75, so he'll easily get past the AI.
Doesn't get bad. Oh, he's going to send it around the outside.
Oh, and Mike spun. Mike's lost it on the exit of...
Oh!
Mike lost it on the exit of turn 3. I think he's forgotten that ghosting's off, because he just spun right in front of JTK, I think that was.
Huge crash. That was Tyrant, I think.
That was scary. Yeah, I think probably just forgot ghostings off. Yeah, that could have been an airplane crash. Luckily, wasn't though. But yeah, unfortunate for Mike losing probably about 10 seconds there. Somewhere between 5 and 10 seconds. But yeah, that gives Tyrant that podium position as it stands.
Another penalty now for Giustarini.
I'm going to get the penalties up because the tyre, everyone's basically on the same tyres right now. Penalties are more relevant information. What battles have we... Oh, I just saw Mike spinning at the final corner again. And... Oh, and he's just gone into the pit wall trying to spin it round. That's not going to have done his wing any good.
Oh, neither's that.
Neither's that. Spinning across the track. This could be an unsafe rejoin. Oh! Oh! And he spins it again.
He's doing donuts now by the looks of it. Don't go full throttle, man.
Yeah, struggling to keep the car in a straight line now. So that's the second time that Mike has spun and nearly caused a massive...
Second, third, fourth and fifth time.
Well, a second time he spun and nearly caused a massive airplane crash as he rejoined, and he's gone off at
turn one. I think he's just got really hot tyres now.
Yeah, I think he's probably going to have to pit, to be honest. He's going to lose so much time. And he's probably damaged his wing as well when he went into the pit wall. Well, this is an exciting one to watch. DC Whitey versus Mike. Not one we normally see. Mike very out of position right now. And can't even get on the power out of turn 5 there. DC Whitey down the inside into turn 6. Mike forced off the track there a little bit. But... yeah, having to concede the position anyway. He does a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He's really struggling. I think, yeah, based on the grip he has wing damage. Oh, and he spun.
He spun. He's out. So that could be a safety car.
Yep.
It is.
It is. I think is my... Oh, I have the replay thing turned off. Oh well. It'll save the clip. Yep, so we have a safety car here. Who is going to come in for a pit stop? I think Giustarini will to serve his 5-second speeding penalty. The tyres are only going to be on 3 laps at most, but... or 4 laps in the case of failing. But, given that some of these guys pitted when it was still dry, those could be quite worn, actually. They have a lot of sets of inter tyres, so maybe we'll see some pit stops here.
Seems like it's only Alfa Romeo who have lost anything from this race. Everyone else now is in the points. If the point system is the same as normal F1 and Wicked Wednesday, which I'm assuming it isn't.
Huh? Sorry, what?
What's the point system in Wicked Wednesday?
The same as the divisions.
Okay.
So 35 for first, and that's about all I know. I think 28 for second or something. Don't really remember. Points down to 15th.
Well, Mike said mate.
What, in chat? Or...
His tyres went from 75 degrees to... I'm going to say like 112 or something. 111. Oh, it's one off. He says in one corner, but it was about 5 spins in that one corner. And Giustarini gets another penalty as he's entering the pit lane. Oh dear. He goes onto the wet tyre.
That's a very interesting call. So does JTK.
Is it? I don't think it's that wet.
It doesn't look wet enough right now. Maybe the rain is getting heavier though, and it's gonna go wet conditions soon. This is gonna be an interesting one to watch, I guess. Tyrant on brand new intermediates behind him. JT on brand new wets in third, and then we've got Geo and Glenn in front on the old intermediates. It's gonna be very interesting to see what their pace is like.
I'm assuming it's not going to dry up.
No, it's wet at the end. So Geo still hasn't rejoined, I don't think. So he's going to be an AI car.
Give a nice view of the wonderful Mercedes safety car. AMG GT3.
How exciting.
It's a lovely sounding car and it's a lovely looking car.
But we don't want to be spending too much of this race looking at it, to be honest.
No, we don't. But
And we
wait
have-
until at least that Haas has caught up to the safety car.
And we have the other Mercedes into the pits, the F1 Mercedes, going onto the wet tyres for DTYT. Maybe Jeff starting to suggest wet tyres for these guys. Yeah, it's very interesting to see a few drivers going onto the wets.
Think about pitting for wets.
I
Got
don't.
anything to lose.
I don't even know if
stays
he's gonna. No, he's gonna have to stay out because I don't even know if he'll catch up at this rate. If you think about how far back he is.
That is true. We'll see as they enter sector 3 whether the safety car will be in this lap or not.
I can't remember. I think it came out on lap 14, so it should be out for one more after this one. But yeah, we'll see. If it doesn't stay out for another one, then I don't think Crossfrog will catch, and maybe not DTYT either. And coming to the line now, it's halfway down this straight, and we have another lap of safety car. So
But there could be no consolation for Crossfrog because he is still quite a long way
yeah,
back.
he is very far back. I don't know how hard he's pushing on those intermediates. But yeah, DTYT gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. It looks like he should be fine to catch. Obviously, you have the two very long straights where he's going to be gaining significant amounts of time compared to the safety car
I don't know,
pace.
really. I don't know. Safety car goes fairly quickly down the straights. It's just in the corners it goes stupidly slowly. Especially in the rain. Although Glenn is keeping a nice safe gap from the safety car. Probably a bit too big. It's meant to be 10 car lengths as the maximum.
Oh, you're looking at Glenn. I was watching the That looks like less than 10 car lengths.
Well, it
Unless-
is now, but
yeah.
on the straight. Yeah, 10 car lengths, and then if it's any more than that, the game starts telling you to catch a safety car, and the guys behind you say.
Yeah,
that,
well,
you know,
he
that's
has an AI behind him, so if he does drop too far back, it will overtake him straight away.
Yeah. Crossfrog is almost there.
On the
Only
same
straight
straight
away.
as the back of the pack. Yeah, he'll catch up just fine. And the safety car will be in at the end of this lap, which will be pretty much the halfway point of this race. DTYT going off again under the safety car. He's really struggling at these low speeds, which is interesting. As Crossfrog now just about to join onto the back of the pack, and any second now we will get told. Yep, there we go. Safety car in this lap, and it's going to be down to Glenn on those old intermediate tyres to dictate the pace for this race restart.
Very slow.
Yeah,
Under 50
40,
kilometers an hour.
50, 40.
Under 40 now. Oh, he sped up and slowed down. Nice. And he is going to go. Little snap on the restart, but he's got a nice gap to Gio, and Gio's got a nice gap to JTK. JTK gets overtaken by his teammate before the line. He's going to have to cede that. And Tyrant could be at risk now from William Talbot, possibly, into turn 1. William Talbot gets past his teammate.
It looks like he's going to be all right. But yeah, we'll see how these wet tyres do now compared to Tyrant's intermediates. They're of equal age, so it's purely going to be the compound pace here. I think if JTK can get plenty of temperature into these, he's not going to do too bad. Obviously, the wets are slower to compound. He's just going to have to hope that those inters get a bit too cold. And William Talbot going down the inside of Tyrant there. Has to back out a bit, though. A few cars in the back drifting through as well. But yeah, overall, relatively clean restart from the lot.
This is where Tyrant and Will gain the most time.
Oh, that was nearly very bad. And yeah, JTK losing a lot of time here. And here they go. Tyrant deploying ERS, Will deploying ERS as well. Will going to try and go around the outside of JTK into the turn 15. And JTK gets spun. Yeah, I think fighting a little bit too hard maybe on the significantly slower compound. As JTK and Khalifa going wheel to wheel through there, nearly coming together. But yeah, I think definitely the wrong call from JTK there. He's going to be losing a lot of time here. Especially if it gets full wet conditions in the next few laps, maybe it'll be alright. Yeah, easy move for him on the straight.
Not done yet. Tyrant will try and hold it around the outside.
Yeah, he went a little bit deep there. Might help failing squash actually. If he gets a good exit.
First gear in the first chicane. No wonder he got a poor exit.
Yeah. That's not going to have done him any good on the traction there at all. Yeah, everyone's starting to settle down a little bit.
And again.
Will going past Gio's AI now. Finally, they managed to catch up to it. Khalifa gets 3 seconds for track limits.
Also going to get past Gio's AI, possibly. Oh, almost contact between the Red Bull and the Alpha Tauri.
Oh, and the Haas hits the back of the Williams there. Went in too hot into turn 16.
The Haas beached, I think. No.
Yeah, that was...
Oh, he rejoins the track and he spun around again. That was on Khalifa. Straight into Justerini when he rejoined the track. Very poor rejoin. Very silly. Very stupid.
Lost for words.
Very small brain.
Gio manages to get back past Tyrant down the straight. Not what Tyrant's going to be wanting, really. Obviously, the AI going to be significantly slower. He, I think, went into the back of him there as well.
AI's always got mega speed on the straights.
Yeah.
It's Tyrant now going to try once again. He needs to use his battery if he wants to get past, because the AI's going to be faster. Or he's going to send it. Contact, but let's get the moves done.
It's an AI, I think. He's just trying to get past at this point. Yeah, comfortable lead right now for Glenn, just over a second, although Will has been catching on this.
Khalifa sends it on Justerini.
And as I say that, Will gets a 3-second time penalty.
Crossfrog now right behind JTK. Is he going to make the move into first corner of Sector 3? I don't know what number it is.
I think 15. Yeah, gets down the inside, although JTK is going to try and fight it here.
JTK is going to have the better line here, but Crossfrog's going to try the switcheroo.
The good old switcheroo.
Was left of space, but he didn't want to trust JTK to give him the space, so he did back out, but he's going to get him on the straight here, possibly. Although JTK's got a lot of battery still remaining.
Crossfrog has about 70% deploying as well. So, yeah, easy move, I think, for Cross. JTK slots back into the slipstream, maybe going to try and fight it into turn 1, and he is actually. Having a look to the inside. And a little bit of context there with the rear right of Crossfrog. But managed to keep going. Khalifa and DC
William
Whitey.
Talbot challenging Glenn for the lead here. Glenn forces him wide. Wilson is still trying to hold it round the outside. Heading to the double right-hander here.
Oh, and Will loses it and hits the Alpine there. That's not going to have done either of them any good. Maybe a bit of wing damage there for Will. Oh, and he hits the Alpine.
Here comes Tyrant round the outside. And he takes advantage of Will's mistake.
Yeah, that was very scruffy from Will.
In the process.
That was very scruffy from Will. Lost it on the rear and hit the Alpine at turn 6, and then again went into the back of the Alpine at turn 7 and spun himself.
Tyrant also in first gear. Again, not ideal. You don't want to be on first gear in any track, any weather.
And DC Whitey nearly lost the car on the exit of the S's there. Let Justerini pass. Yeah.
Tyrant is right behind Glenn in the slipstream. Not using the battery. Neither is Glenn, but he is going to send it into turn 1 by the looks of it.
He has 4 lap newer tyres, remember, and I think a few of those laps for Glenn were in dry conditions, so his tyres going to be very burnt up. And yeah, that's...
Glenn has to go off, and now Will's going to try and make a move.
I think Glenn just drove off, to be honest. It looked like Tyrant was leaving him the space.
And here comes Will on Tyrant.
Oh, and that was very nearly contact there.
The apex.
Oh, and that's contact.
Yeah.
Maybe a move from Glenn down the inside here. Makes contact with Will. That's... I think he's probably going to have to let him back through. That was a very scruffy move. Might get a penalty for that one.
And this could be the chance for Tyrant to push into the lead here.
Yeah, while these guys are scrapping, he needs to try and drive away. He has the newer tyres, so if oh, and Will's going to try and send it. Will getting very impatient. This is not great for Will. He's starting to get impatient. You can tell by the way he's driving. Made a mistake there into that corner, locked the rears a little bit. And yeah, he's getting frustrated behind the Alpine, obviously, probably with what happened at turn 6 there. And also the last lap, the mistakes. And the Alpine's into the pits. Is that going to be for wet tyres? Or for new winters? Maybe, actually. And yes, he's going for intermediates, brand new. No wing change, though.
Well, there's still 13 laps remaining of this race, so there's a long way to go. And intermediates don't usually last that long, so it could be a decent idea.
I think this is really good. Oh, and Wills, I think, has made a mistake. He's dropped right back towards his teammate, and the gap to Tyrant's grown from about 1 second to 2.2. Yeah, lost 2.5 seconds through Sector 1 as well. Although that's probably compared to the dry conditions, actually. So that's kind of irrelevant.
Now, in my opinion, if I were Tyrant or William Talbot, I would hit this lap. But Inter to take me to the end of the race.
Yeah, I think definitely Will. He doesn't want to... I mean, Will wouldn't want to end up with his teammate pitting and then, you know, his teammate overtakes him on the next lap and then Will can't pit because his teammate's pitting or something. So Will should probably come in this lap. Crossfrog right on the back of Gio's AI. Yeah, JTK lost 3 seconds, I think, in the last lap to Crossfrog. Don't know whether that was because of a mistake or whether that's the pace of the tyre.
Rain's getting heavier, though, I think.
It will get heavier for the rest of the race. I'm kind of just watching JTK a little bit to see. I think Crossfrog's getting held up behind the AI, which is why JTK is starting to catch back up.
Will didn't pit, and here comes Failing Squash.
Yeah, none of the top 3 choosing to pit. Neither does Gio or Cross.
Will's going to send it again.
Oh, and Failing Squash.
Lock the rears.
Yeah. Glenn, quite far back there. He's got a few cars to fight through. He's going to go for some moves here, down the main straight. Khalifa going for it on JTK. and Glenn going it for on the both of them, managing to get past into turn 1 down the inside of JTK, and he has a significant tyre advantage, so that's going to be a very easy move. Done deal. But yeah, he still has to get past quite a few cars here if he wants to fight for this win. And depending on when he catches them, if he catches them at the start of sector, or the middle of sector 2, even the S's, it's going to be very tricky for him to make an overtake. He could be losing multiple seconds per lap, really. It's a bold call, I guess. But Mexico, it's not the longest pit lane, but you're also going down the straight quite fast.
Now, as I said before, I think they need to pit to avoid too big of an undercut by Glenn, because he's going to be rapid on those new tyres.
Well, let's see. Tyrant staying out. Will stays out as well. What's Failing Squash going to do? He had that spin at turn 1. Stays out as well.
Unless they think their tyres can make it to the end and they'll still have a decent enough gap to Glenn, but I don't think they will.
20 laps, 22 laps, I think it will be on the intermediates. It's going to be a long ask. Very tall order. Let's see, what is the gap to the leader?
And Failing Squash does it again into turn 1. The exact same thing.
Luckily, it doesn't have any cars behind, so he should be able to rejoin just in time. Glenn is 19 seconds off of the leader right now. Yeah, at this point, Failing Squash might as well have pitted with the amount of time he's going to be losing from these spins. And I think what I said is actually going to happen. Glenn is going to catch Gio at a very awkward time for him after the 2 straights. And it's not going to end great for him. He's probably going to lose a little bit of time. Maybe going to send an aggressive dive bomb here into turn 6. He's going to get a decent exit, having a look to the inside, and does manage to get past. I don't even think with any contact. Looks like he's quite far back, but yeah. Manages to easily move past that AI car.
So he's now 18 seconds from Tyrant.
So we have 11 laps after this race, so he's got to be around 2 seconds a lap faster, which I think is possible. Let's see, Tyrant coming to the line now. Tyrant's last lap was a 32.5. Will is into the pits. Will is pitting now.
Good idea.
Let's see, Failing Squash staying out, I guess, because of the double stack. Maybe just gonna go to the end now. But so, Glenn doing 30.3s. What did I say Tyrant did?
32.7, I think. So
That's
it's 2.5 seconds faster.
Yeah. It's about 2 seconds a lap faster, yeah. So I think he will catch Tyrant come the end of this race. Tyrant's tyres are only going to get worse as well. And at this point, Glenn now 17 seconds, 16 seconds back. He's managed to get past Crossfrog through turn 1. First he came. Interesting.
We'll have to wait and see what that does, but the track looks like it's soaking now. Starting to see standing water, and the rain is very heavy. So this could be a good idea for Will, if he's able to get them up to temperature quickly and be quick on them.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's catching Gio's AI, so it's not the worst pace.
Because obviously the wet tyres don't have tyre blankets, they come very cold out of the pit lane.
So let's see, Tyrant losing the rear end there through the stadium section. What's he going to do? He's coming to the pits potentially for wets as well. Yeah, you can see the puddles starting to form on the track now. It's really starting to get wet. Especially off the racing line. It might, and Failing Squash coming in.
No, wet tyres.
Failing Squash coming in as well. So Glenn will now take the lead on the intermediates. But if the wet tyres really are faster, this could really play into Will and Tyrant's hands. Let's see where Will comes out compared to Tyrant. I think Will's probably got held up behind this Red Bull. But yeah, coming out quite a little bit further ahead. A little bit closer actually, sorry, to Tyrant than before. I think, oh, and he hits the Red Bull as he goes past. I don't know if Gio managed to rejoin, but yeah, contact made at turn 1. So now this is going to be a really good test to see what it's like once Tyrant's got these tires up to temperature. Is he going to be closing in on Glenn on the intermediate tires? Again, slight difference in tire age. He seems to be holding the gap quite consistently throughout throughout that first sector, but sector 2 is going to be the real game changer. And yeah, he's managing to keep pace with it, and it's only going to get wetter. I think this
Again,
is good.
there's not a shortage of laps remaining.
Yeah, we got
There's still quite a few laps to go.
at the end of this one there'll be 9 laps remaining. So yeah, I think, especially with the rain getting heavy, you can really see the puddles on the exit of that final corner with that shot. Actually, this really could play into the hands of Tyrant and Will here. Tyrant has no penalty. Will has that 3-second time penalty. So obviously, Will's going to be slightly less in the fight compared to Tyrant. Well, yeah, Glenn managed to pull about half a second through, I think, sector 3. Maybe just a little bit faster through those slow corners.
Now in the slow corners. So Tyrant could gain a lot of time here because Glenn's struggling.
Yep. Failing Squash managed to get past you on the exit of turn 1. But yeah, Tyrant is gaining on this lap. He's gained about 3 or 4 tenths. He is gaining, but I don't know if he's gaining fast enough.
Glenn is nowhere near full throttle anymore in the S's.
Yep. So let's think. We've got 8 laps left at the end of this one. And Tyrant's 6 seconds back. So he needs to be almost a second faster per lap. And actually, he is kind of there or thereabouts on this lap. With the time gain. He gained 3 tenths there just through turn 15 alone. Or 14, I don't know which one it is. Yeah, I think Tyrant might have the pace here. He's gained about a second, I think.
Glenn really starting to struggle on those intermediate tyres.
If Tyrant does catch him, it's going to be right at the end in the last few laps. Maybe he's going to have to burn some battery as well to do it. Maybe not going to be able to fight for it by the time he catches. But it is going to be really interesting. And Justerini coming into the pits. So he was on 14 lap of wets. Does he go for a new set of wets or intermediates? He's gone for new wets. So the one thing that would have told us what the conditions really were would have been if Geo's AI had pitted. However, I think it's just going to stay out. And Tyrant, yeah, very slowly gaining, but I think we may need to see a mistake from Glenn if Tyrant's to truly catch fast enough. I think Tyrant's struggling a little bit with the traction through this final sector. He seemed to have lost a bit of time there on the last lap. But yeah, 5.5 seconds is the gap now as we start lap 30. 7 laps remaining. 5.5 seconds is the gap. It's looking more and more like it's going to be a win for Glenn. A little bit of a slide on the exit of turn 3 though. It seems he's just about able to keep the tyre temperatures high enough. Oh, another mistake there. Goes a little bit deep there. Looks like he locked the rears up a little bit. So that's costing him a little bit. Crossfrog gets past Geo. But yeah, it looks like right now those wets just aren't fast enough compared to the intermediate tyres to really be capitalising Oh, and we have yellow flags. DTYT spun it at the final corner. He gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane and retires from the race. I thought we might be getting a safety car for a second, which really would have spiced things up. Unfortunately, that is not the case. He retires the car. A little bit of a slide again for Glenn. But yeah, he is really just about holding it. The gap enough. Compared to Tyrant, 5 seconds now across the line. Half a second faster won't be enough for Tyrant. He needs us to get even wetter. He really needs the rain to start falling very hard, very suddenly. If this race is going to change for him.
Tyrant deep into turn 1.
Yeah. That's going to cost him a bit of time, about half a second. Although he gains it back on the exit, I think Glenn must have made a bit of a mistake.
Apparently, DTYT's wheel has just snapped.
Well, that's interesting. I'm surprised he managed to get it back into the pits.
Tyrant really trying to push in the S's.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to make it, though.
Oh, Glenn went off just then.
How much time is that going to find Tyrant? About a second. It's mistakes like that the Tyrant really needs if he wants to catch up. He seemed a lot more confident, at least in the car, that it will stick. 4 seconds now, the gap, and we have 5 laps remaining.
Tyrant needs a couple more of those mistakes from Glenn to be able to be in with a shot of this race win.
Yeah, it's possible, but I don't think Tyrant's pace is strong enough to do it on pace alone. He's going to need some mistakes. Like that, a little bit. We're starting to slide more and more on that Alpine. Every time we look at it on the exits of the corners, it seems to be having a little bit of a slide. 3.7, 3.8 seconds now, the gap. And he's half a second slower than he was on his last few laps through Sector 1. You're really starting to struggle on those intermediate tyres. And yeah, it's looking more and more like we're going to get a fight here in the last lap. JTK manages to get past Gio.
Glenn now avoiding every single curb.
Yeah,
or at least trying to.
The curb is going to be absolutely deadly.
Apart from that one.
And that one. And that one. I think it's just the raised curbs.
It's almost every curb in the
yeah.
S's he tried to avoid.
Yeah, the flatter ones aren't as bad. But yeah, no, look at the gap now. 3 seconds, 2.8.
Second on that last lap again.
The hunt really is on for Tyrant.
I'll end the rest actually. But 1.5 seconds on that last lap.
They're almost going to be in the same shot now. As yeah, we can see Tyrant now right behind the Alpine coming down the straight. 2.5 seconds, a little bit deep for the Alpine there, but managed, yeah, lost a little bit of time there. Four laps left, 2-second gap. This is going to be a really close finish between these two.
Tyrant needs to stay calm. He can see him in front of him.
Yeah.
See how close he's getting. Just needs to stay calm and not get too excited about gaining the positions. Gaining the time. Now this sector is where Tyrant seems to gain most of the time on Glenn.
Yeah, this is a really traction-heavy sector. And yeah, you can see the Alpine sliding there. Yeah, he's found half a second through that.
Looked like Glenn almost hit the wall as well on the exit.
Yep, Tyrant just found 3/10 through the final corner. Glenn made a bit of a mistake. 1.4 seconds now with 3 laps remaining.
Now at this rate, Tyrant's going to be right on the back of Glenn at the end of this lap.
Yeah. The pressure's really going to be coming on for Glenn. And if he wasn't making mistakes before, he definitely is going to be now. A little bit of a slide on the exit of that corner, lost him a couple tenths again. It's mainly the traction zones he's struggling in. He's losing the rear, and it's just not sticking. Unfortunately for Tyrant though, it is wet, so he's not gonna have the drag reduction system to assist him with the overtake, but he does have a significant pace advantage. 8 tenths now the gap. And I think it's going to be even smaller by the end of this lap.
It's also where Tyrant needs to be careful of dirty air in the S's.
Yeah. Now that he's so much closer, he's going to start to struggle a little bit more. Losing downforce. So, oh, and that looks like a bit of a snap for the Alpine there. Gone very deep, and that's put Tyrant right on the back. 3/10 now, the gap between them. And is Tyrant going to be going for a move now down into turn 1? In fact, with the exits he's going to be getting, the Alpine was still sliding by the time they got onto the straight. Tyrant is going to make, I think, quite an easy move. I think the Alpine now deploying some energy to defend.
Tyrant should have probably deployed it then. Because he can pull. He can gain time on him.
Yeah, he's going to have to sit behind. Maybe going to have a look on it for a move into turn 3. He's always managed to get a better exit out of this corner here. Turn 3. He'll then run down to turn 4. Yeah, deploying the ERS now. He's going to be on the outside line though. Glenn has gone defensive. Has a look to the inside, but can't make it work.
Forces Glenn into a little bit of a mistake.
Is he going to have a look down the inside into turn 6? It's a tricky place to make an overtake. And he does send it. And managing to get past. Glenn has a snap and hits him. Glenn nearly losing the car completely, trying to defend from Tyrant. And Tyrant has now taken the lead on lap 35 of 36. We have just over 1 lap remaining. 1.5 laps.
I didn't think Tyrant was going to get down on the power early enough. Or in fact, I didn't think he did get down on the power early enough. But he did get the move done and was able to...
And we have yellow flags. Will's crashed!
Out.
On the penultimate lap, Will has lost it through the S's and crashed into the barrier. And that promotes his teammate into the podium positions. But now let's watch back to the fight between Tyrant and Glenn as we start the last lap. Glenn really struggling on the power, and Tyrant's already managed to pull a second on Glenn. Tyrant has a lot more ERS as well. Tyrant has about 70% compared to Glenn's 30%.
Tyrant can battery dump here. He probably should.
So yeah, this is looking more and more. As long as he doesn't make a mistake, like it's going to be going in Tyrant's way. Glenn deployed all of his battery. It's completely empty now going into turn 1. Looking for any last hope. Tyrant went a little bit deep. It's allowed Glenn to close in a little bit.
Tyrant doesn't need to save his battery anymore.
And look how much Glenn is struggling. He's in 5th gear and he's losing the rear end. JTK right on the back of Crossrock as well. This is going to be a good fight on the last lap. Down the main straight. JTK gaining in the slipstream, deploying his battery. They're going to be going wheel to wheel down towards turn 1. Crossrock on the inside. Who's going to be able to brake later? Looks like JTK slightly. However, Crossrock using that inside line, and there's a bit of contact between the two of them. Cross the inside line for turn 3, but JTK gets that wider line, gets a better exit out of the corner. Puts Cross behind now, going into turn 4. Cross having a look to the outside. JTK going defensive into turn 4. And that's going to force JTK a little bit deep. Crossrock going to have a look for a switchback. Doesn't quite work out for him. Going to go for the double switchback. Tries to do what Tyrant did, but it doesn't quite work out for him. He ends up a little bit further back. And yeah, not quite working out. Loses the rear a little bit. And as this is happening...
Tyrant comes into the final corner.
It's been an amazing drive for Tyrant. Got the strategy right when he needed to switch to those wet tyres and manages to make the move in on Glenn. And Tyrant's going to come across the line to win the Mexican Grand Prix. Glenn comes across it home in P2, stuck out on those intermediate tyres when they probably weren't the right compound. Failing squash after his teammate crashed out on the penultimate lap will take the final podium position. And Crossrock has dropped back significantly from JTK. I think had a few mistakes on that lap. Which means that JTK, as long as he gets this final corner cleanly, is going to take P4.
Almost didn't. Then.
Oh! Crossrock will come across the line to take P5. I have a lot of messages. So Gio comes across for P6, Khalifa P7, and somebody in P8. I've forgotten.
Failing squash after lots of mistakes into turn 1, or a couple at least.
Yeah.
Gets podium position and gets driver of the day in the process.
But it is Tyrant who wins the race.
You wouldn't have got me. That is good England.
Yep, Tyrant wins the race from Glenn and Failing Squash, rounding out the podium. JTK P4, Crossrock P5, then Gio Khalifa and Justerini rounding out the finishers. I think will get classified because he completed over whatever percentage of the race. So he'll get classified in 9th. And then DTYT, Make and Chris, the 3 cars that DNF'd. And Glenn taking the fastest lap there as well. Alright. Let's see if anybody... We have Mr. Tyrant for an interview. I will bring Tyrant over. Hello, Tyrant.
Hello there.
So, yeah, race win in the end. It looked like for a second that strategy wasn't going to work, going to the wet tyres. But yeah, tell us a bit about that race.
I wasn't expecting to be fighting at the front. I'll be honest. I think I was quite far off of the front 3, but the safety car really brought me back into it. JTK chose the wets and shouldn't have. And Glenn didn't hit under the safety car, and that allowed me to get. I think when I pitted for wets, I was 15 seconds ahead of Glenn.
Yeah. So, as for choosing those wet tyres, was that a no-brainer? Because obviously there was quite a few people still on the intermediates, and when JTK went for the wets, he was dropping miles back. Were you ever concerned that the same thing would happen when you went for them?
No, because Will went for the wets by accident because he spun into the pit lane, and then came out and he was faster. So that was the call to realise, okay, yeah, it's time to pit.
All right, but yeah, congratulations on the win. It was a very good drive, especially in those last few laps, managing to catch up. Jack, do you have anything to say?
Nope, nothing from me.
All right, well, yeah, congratulations on the win. And yeah.
JTK said I wouldn't get one this season.
Yeah, well,
now you can tell him to go and smell himself.
All right. Goodbye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I moved into the wrong call. Whoops. Let's go for P2. Nearly banned him by accident. Whoops. Hello, Glenn, what do you want? What do you want us to call you? Glenn, is Prime Map. Oh, bye
Oh,
bye.
he doesn't want an interview, I guess. Okay.
Maybe his
I guess he thought the interview was in voice.
mic issues or something. We shall see. If not, we will go for failing in a second. If I don't get a response, he has just left the call. Actually, oh, he's back
I
here.
don't-
Hello.
Wait, I'm gonna join again.
Huh?
Does he know he can't join?
I'm so confused. Okay, he's back in the call. Hello.
Wait, I'm gonna join on the PC because my phone is glitching, man.
Huh?
We could hear him?
Okay, should we go for failing then?
I guess so.
Okay, hello, failing.
Hello.
So P3 for you, in that race. How was it for you?
I don't really know how to describe it. It was crazy. I had a couple incidents in quali and at the start of the race. I thought I was being stupid compared to everyone for putting a wet setup on during quali, but it turned out to work in the race as I was catching Will a lot on that last couple laps. But it was alright. It was alright.
Yeah, obviously inheriting the podium from your teammate, as he crashed out on that penultimate lap. Do you think you would have caught him anyway?
With his 6-second penalty that was going to be applied, I reckon I would have gotten him anyway. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
think
then
had you not made those mistakes into turn 1 as well, twice,
Yeah.
you would have overtaken him on track.
Yeah, I don't really know what was going on there. My throttle was just playing up, and I just spun it from traction.
and then as
Nothing.
for the strategy, changing onto those wet tires, were you ever concerned? Obviously, with JTK, he was really struggling when he first went onto them.
Yeah, I saw like the Aston and JTK struggling on them, and I still had pace on the inters, but then I saw how quick some people behind me were getting on the wets, and then I looked at the weather and I just thought I might as well risk it. I'm in a good position, and it turned out to be better to risk it and go on them.
But yeah, anything else you want to say, Jack?
Nope, nothing else. All
Yeah,
good.
well, good race from you, getting onto the podium right at the end there. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Ooh, I knew you just kicked him from the server when I tried to disconnect him.
You tried to ban someone earlier, now you tried to kick
Well, I
someone.
was trying to click on the disconnect button and then he disconnected, so it changed to the kick button.
I think...
I'm just going to ping him, see if he's ready.
Yo,
Hello.
yo.
So PT for you in the end. How was the race for you?
Well, it was good. I was leading for like 34.5 laps, and I thought I will make it with the inters, but yeah, my pace was strong on the inters, but and the how to say it, because my English is not my main language, and the low speed corners I was really struggling with the old inters.
So, what was the decision to go into the inters? Obviously, the other guys went for the wet tires, and I think they were slightly faster. Was that just playing it safe a little bit? Didn't want to risk it given the pace of what happened earlier on with the wets?
The guys with the wets, I think they pit 3 laps later, so I thought I didn't slide too much, so I thought I will make it. That's yeah.
All right. And then, yeah, I think that's mostly it. But yeah, it was a really good drive from you. You were leading for a lot of the race there. But yeah, Tyrant just with those newer wet tires had the pace.
Yeah,
at the
this
end.
guy is This guy is good with strategy, man. Shit.
But yeah, really good race from you, and yeah, hope to see some more results like that as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Et voila. All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching. It's been an amazing race. Lots of tense moments. Lots of fights going down to the wire there. In the end, though, Tyrant coming out on top. Make sure you hit the follow buttons, and yeah, we will see you tomorrow, I think, for the Division 1 race in Silverstone. So, thank you for watching, and goodbye.